Welcome back to Sovereign Nation. I'm Michelle Malkin. Judicial Watch head Tom Fitton joins me now to tell us what his organization is doing to stop the steal. He's also the author of the best-selling book, A Republic Under Assault. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Michelle, good to be with you.
Always good to see you. And of course, I have been so grateful for the work that you and Judicial Watch have done for years on this issue. I think that you have earned the right to say, see, I told you so. What are you doing? What currently are you doing to stop the steal across the country?
Well, our litigators and investigators are figuring out where, if any place there is for us to make a stand legally to preserve what I think to be the lawful election result. U.S. Code, 3 U.S. Code, Section 1 designates not yesterday, not tomorrow, not today, but this past Tuesday as Election Day. That's when we were supposed to select the president. Any votes being counted that arrive after that day, I think should be subject to challenge. And frankly, any vote counting that occurs after Election Day should be subject to challenge. And my concern is, Michelle, that the Trump campaign isn't at least presenting any legal cases that I think are going to change the results of what's happening in Georgia and Pennsylvania. The counting's continuing. I mean, when you've got a pause in counting, that indicates fraud. And frankly, when you have counting after the election takes place, there are all sorts of conflicts and shenanigans that can take place because of that. Look, when you're counting on Election Day, you don't know how many votes you need to win. You just count them, right? But when you count after Election Day, you know there's a target you need to meet if you're a partisan who wants to change this outcome. And how can you trust what went on in Pennsylvania in all those circumstances, especially considering the illicit secrecy around the counting of ballots?
Right.
So there are legal issues that are that.
And of course, with two particular counties in Georgia and Pennsylvania, Fulton County in Georgia and Allegheny County in Pennsylvania, both of these have had historic issues with voting irregularities, just, heightening the red flags around them. And of course, the role that Stacey Abrams is playing in Georgia is also of deep concern. Yes?
Yeah, I'm most concerned about the decision to pause counting on Election Day, in those two jurisdictions specifically. That's evidence of fraud. And when I mean evidence, I mean this is a political disagreement we're in. Do the American people, can the voters of Georgia, the voters of Pennsylvania, and constitutionally speaking, and more importantly, the state legislators of Georgia and Pennsylvania, be confident that that process is something that was appropriate and something they want to endorse? Constitutionally speaking, it looks like they can appoint their slate of electors. The legislatures can independently and challenge any other slate that's been appointed that pursues a result on behalf of Joe Biden. So this ain't over. Yeah. It's not over. It's a political battle that eventually will be decided by Congress. I know the courts may intervene in the meantime, but I'm not seeing anything the Trump campaign is doing that's going to result, I think, in a change in the outcome that we're seeing today.
And I want to get more to the role that Congress can play and the state legislatures as well. Before I do that, though, I want to make note, because Judicial Watch just put out a new report on the concept and issue and problem of these ghost voters. Can you talk about what the study found?
Yeah, we just put out a study 2 weeks ago, I think it is, that we did an analysis of the data that was available, and it's only, I think, 37 states that we were able to look at, but we found in 29 states there were counties or states generally that had more people on the rolls than were living there and eligible to vote. And that was 1.8 million generally.
And this,
Clark
of course,
County, we did an analysis. Right? Clark County, Nevada specifically, which I know is a big issue now, they have a 102% registration rate according to our best available data. Right. So there are more people living. They got more people in the rolls than are living there, and eligible to vote. It's crazy. Yeah, how can you trust? And this is why they should never have engaged in or allowed to have taken place this mail-in ballot push. This was all foreseeable. What we're seeing now.
Yeah, you're right. It is. And months ago, all of the forces aligned against Trump and America had decided that they were going to use COVID as a ruse to hijack the election. And what could have been done, to intervene to stop that from happening in the first place? All of the ballot harvesting that took place, that's resulting in these massive numbers of ballots just mysteriously showing up at polling places after Election Day.
Yeah, I mean, legally, I would have taken the position Election Day was going to be on Tuesday. Allowing mail in ballots to take place in massive numbers without having the rules in place to make sure they would be counted on Election Day would necessarily ensure that millions of Americans would be disenfranchised. And so they had to stop. Either they could count the ballots on Election Day or they had to come up with another process. But as it is now, in my view, they had an Election Day on Tuesday. We know who is winning on Tuesday, don't we? President Trump.
Yeah.
And since then, they've allowed counting to take place, in my view, and contrary to federal law, that has changed the outcome of the Tuesday result. And that should be rejected, either by the courts or constitutionally through Congress.
Yes, and we have less than a minute left. And you've been talking about the role that state legislators can play and then Congress with seating these electors. Talk about that a little bit more.
In states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, where the state legislature is controlled by Republicans, they can appoint, if they so choose, a slate of electors to support the president's reelection. And then it's up to Congress to resolve the dispute over whether those electors are seated. I'm not sure how that dispute will be resolved in Congress. Maybe it will be resolved in the courts. But that's a constitutional option for pursuing the result that I think is the lawful result, is that the president won on Tuesday.
Well, you foresaw this. You warned about these dangers in your best-selling book, A Republic Under Assault. I hope that the powers that be in the White House and the campaign are listening to you, Tom, and thank you again for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.